Hello, welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Libby, and today I'm delighted to be representing the Marymount School of New York, and I'm excited to be having a discussion about tech and tech careers with Rebecca McGilley, the Director of Government and IGO Engagement at the Internet Company for Assigned Names and Numbers. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2022. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. In 2021, Girls in ICT Day was held on April 22nd. The objectives of Girls in ICT Day are to help create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in the growing field of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, UNICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, and is in support of Equals, the global partnership for gender equality in the digital age. Marymount is pleased to be a partner on this session today. The goals of the series include to interest and inspire girls and young women with information about a range of ICT careers that can be had. Bring before a broader audience some of the role model women in tech and share information about their career journeys and work. Offer diverse examples of how ICT is being used to support achievement of Sustainable Development Goals and other UN goals. Showcase initiatives that are working with girls to support them in ICT studies or future ICT careers, and to provide girls and young women in tech with a leadership opportunity to represent and promote a Girls in Tech organization with which they are involved and promote it to a broader international audience. To kick this session off, I'm going to introduce you to Marymount. I've attended Marymount for 3 years and have greatly enjoyed the opportunities to get involved in STEM Marymount has offered to me. Since my freshman year, the teachers of the STEM courses I have taken have always creatively incorporated technology into our learning and shown us a variety of career opportunities for young women interested in STEM. For more information, you can visit marymountnysc.org. As you can see, I'm very interested in learning about different career opportunities for women in STEM. I'm delighted to now shift to a conversation with Rebecca McGilley, the Director for Government and IGO Engagement at the Internet Company for Assigned Names and Numbers. So, Rebecca, could you please describe when and how you first got into technology?
Sure. First, hi, thank you for having me. It's truly a pleasure to be here supporting such a great initiative. So how I got into technology, well, I'm going to be a little honest with you. I didn't really intend to get into technology, so to speak. So I attended the United States Military Academy at West Point. And that meant that once I graduated with my degree, I was going to, at a minimum, spend 5 years serving as an officer in the Army. So while I was in school, I was really interested in law, ethics, jurisprudence, law of war. So I majored in law, but I did take a lot of computer science classes, IT classes, enough so that I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science degree. So we all graduate with a Bachelor's of Science degree, but mine was in law. But my real journey into tech comes from the organizations I joined for work. So when I graduated, I joined the Army. It's called the Army Signal Corps. It's basically the ICT sector for the military. So I spent my whole career in the Army's Signal Corps, and that's really how I got into tech.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I love every minute of it. Where did you discover your interest in technology and, from what I understand, math and data science?
Yeah, so ever since I was young, I've always really loved math. It's always been my favorite subject in school. And then growing up, I've tried to take different math courses and try to get into different opportunities to just widen the range of STEM fields I was being exposed to. So when I was in 5th grade, I started doing Girls Who Code, and that's when I first got interested in kind of like the coding and computer science aspect of STEM. And then in high school, I've tried to take different courses in math and technology and just learn about the different fields I can go into once I get into college and beyond. So I was wondering, could you please describe for us your job in tech now?
So last year, I decided to get out of the Army, and I knew that I still wanted to work in tech, but also still feel like I was contributing, like I was serving in some way. So I really, truly found that at ICANN, the Internet Company for Assigned Names and Numbers, because ICANN has the mission of ensuring the stable and secure operation of the internet and its unique identifier system. Yeah, so I joined as the director of government engagement, and it's really special because our team, it's a small team, but it has a really broad function of working with all of the governments and IGOs across the globe. And part of it is, we'll provide technical briefings. We want to educate and outreach and make sure that governments understand how the internet works and, how certain laws that they may pass could affect the functioning of the government. So with the goal in mind of keeping the technical underpinnings of the internet functioning correctly, that engagement is incredibly important, and I'm super proud to be a part of that.
That sounds really interesting. Do you have a favorite part of your job right now or technology in general?
Honestly, it really is just watching the team work with so many, different IGOs, different governments, different languages. We attend so many conferences, so many events to keep tabs on, the pulse of how the internet is functioning. And that is a lot of work, but it's really fulfilling, especially when you know that the internet is going to stay safe, stay secure, resilient, but also expanding accessibility globally as well is incredibly important, and making sure that people can use the internet in their language and in the script that they want. So all of that makes it really special. What about you? Do you know what kind of jobs you'd be interested in, or what kind of organizations you want to work for?
I'm not exactly sure yet. I definitely really do. My favorite subject still is math, and I really enjoyed taking statistics and other classes about that this year. And then this summer, I'm lucky enough to have an internship related to finance. So I'm trying to broaden my horizons related to fields I could go into. So not exactly sure what I want to do, but definitely something related to, numbers or something related to STEM in that sense.
That's awesome.
So have you encountered any, I'm sure you have, but any specific challenges along the way? And if so, how did you overcome those challenges?
I would say that it's not always easy to be the odd one out. And I have experienced this a lot, especially in the military, being the only woman in the room. And it comes with the territory. And if you go into tech, you'll find that sometimes you will be the only, woman in the room, which, it can be cool, it can be novel, but it can also be frustrating or annoying. There are certain challenging aspects of that. And I think one of the biggest challenges for me, that I've learned to address much better as I got older was advocating for myself. And it's hard to speak up for yourself. A lot of times you'd be seen as making a fuss or causing waves. But if you don't speak up, you could miss out on something, and you could be not standing up for something that's right, whatever it may be. So I've had to convince myself, that the worst that can usually happen when you speak up is and advocate for yourself is you can hear the word no. And that's fine. You have to be okay with hearing no. And sometimes you don't accept a no, but you have to learn when to pick your battles. But advocating for myself has been one of the biggest challenges, and pretty good at it now.
In relation to that, do you have any other career or tech advice that you would give for young girls and women in tech?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, advocating for yourself, but I think it's very important, women, we have to be a team, and we have to also advocate for each other. So if you see something, don't be afraid to speak up. When you do the right thing, you're never wrong. That's what my wife always says. And so it is important to amplify women. And, we need women in tech. We need women in data science. And because of the gender gap in tech is biased, data is biased. There's really a gender gap in everything, engineering to medicine. And we can see how harmful that can be, right? From medical studies and prescription drugs to, seatbelts, for example, were not designed for women. So almost anything. So it's very important, I think, to keep that in mind, make sure that you're advocating for and supporting other women. And one more piece of advice, I would say, I've been super lucky in my career to have had amazing female bosses. And I have kept them as my mentors throughout my career. And I think it's very important for us women, girls, to have like-minded women as mentors. And they're important. They help you navigate the hard stuff, the gray stuff, everything in between, open your eyes to new paths, that you may not have considered, and I've been lucky enough to reach the point where I've been mentoring other girls and women, and it's really special. So my advice is to definitely find and collect those mentors.
That's really, really great advice. I think that's so important for young girls, especially interested in tech, to hear. And that's one of the things I really love about Marymount's an all-girls school. So that's one of the things I really like about going to an all-girls school, especially during my tech and other STEM classes. I really do feel like we're all working as a team together to achieve a certain goal and advocating for each other. So yes, that's very
awesome.
great advice.
That's great. I hope that you do keep in touch with your teachers once you graduate. They would love to hear from you. And even if you wait a long time, teachers still want to hear from you. Dip in my tech career, the Army sent me to go get a master's degree in English, and I was able to teach literature at West Point for 3 years. And that's basically where I gathered all of my mentees was, those girls reaching out and me reaching out to them and trying to make those connections.
That's so great. And looking back over your tech career, do you have an example or two of something you've done in particular that you are proud of?
Well, I'm very proud of my 13 years serving in the Army. And, it seems so long ago now. So I worked in satellite communications for most of my Army career. And one of my jobs was I would commanded it was called a satellite control unit. So it was this part of the Space Force before there was a Space Force. And when the Army was transitioning from the old satellites to the new constellation of satellites, I was the commander of one of the units that ran an operations center that did the testing for the first 2 new satellites. And we brought them online. We made them go live. We did all the testing. So I'm really proud of being able to help with that venture.
That's so amazing. And it seems like you have a wide range of interests. So do you have any activities beyond your job that you would like to tell us about, or any interests beyond your current job?
So no real tech interests outside the job. I mean, I like to keep up with journals and kind of the geopolitics and tech. But I mean, really, when I'm not working, I love to travel and spend time with my wife and our son. As you can see Yosemite behind me, we were just in Yosemite last week. So it's a good work-life balance. That's what I like to do.
That sounds so great. So those were all of the questions I wanted to ask you today. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about your experience in technology, or anything about your job, or anything else you wanted to share?
Well, I'm curious for you, what have you learned so far, kind of the lessons learned that you would either share with your own peers, with girls even younger than you?
Yeah, I would definitely say if you encounter a challenge in one of your STEM classes or a project you're working on, just to keep persisting through it, because I've been there working on a coding project and it's just not working. I had a project due today in physics where I was trying to code something and it wasn't working exactly right, but it's definitely really satisfying when you finally get the right answer in a problem or just fix whatever is not working with your code. So I would just say definitely continue to push through and not give up, just because I feel like it's very worthwhile in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great, lesson and value to hold throughout the rest of your life. Definitely keep that persistence going.
On a other note, so you said you were going to major in law or something related to law. Did you have plans to become a lawyer after your service in the Army? Or I don't know what your plans were back when you were majoring in law.
So it's kind of funny because I joined West Point and I knew that I would have to serve 5 years, but I knew that if I got a law degree, I would have to serve around 10 years. And Becky, back then, past Becky, just wasn't sure she wanted to stay in the Army that long. So I ended up staying for 13 years, but at the time I wasn't ready to make that commitment. So I never went into the lawyer, it's called the judge advocate program through the Army. And then when I got out, I actually did consider going to law school. But then I had the opportunity to work at ICANN, and I really wanted to pursue that and think that law is still super interesting to me, and especially, civil rights and all that. So public policy, I think maybe that'll be my extracurricular activity after I retire.
It's so funny how you can go from majoring in law to working in a tech company, but I'm also somewhat interested in law. I'm in my school's mock trial team, so we'll see what happens with me in the future, but right now it's definitely sticking to tech, I think.
Yeah, both are awesome, but definitely happy to have more women in tech. It would be really cool.
It was so nice speaking with you today. It's so nice to meet and just hear about your journey through tech and all that. It's so interesting to hear about your job currently. That wraps up our session today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I really enjoyed our chat today. Thank you so much for our viewers for watching too.